will this method work if you don't have extra money to pay on your bills? That's the question. From Al Ramsey. Okay.
That is a great question. All right. So here's what I've got. When people ask that, all right, there's usually a couple of things going on, Mr. Ramsey. I very rarely run into people who have exactly $5,000 coming in and their bills amount to exactly $5,000 a month. Very rarely. Okay. If you are spending more than you make, the P.I.L.L method is not the program for you. If you're spending more than you make, all right? So if you have more in loan payments than you're making, then there's only one program for you. It's called bankruptcy.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So we can't help there. But very rarely, I've never seen it where a person is making $5,000 and they spend exactly $5,000. So I'm going to put something else up on the screen to help us with this question, Kurt. So first of all, in your budget, we have 4 key components to the budget with the P.I.L.L method. Number one is when you're paying your bills, okay? Number one is lifestyle spending. Now, there's a famous financial guru out there that says lifestyle spending is last, okay? We put it first. How much money do you want to spend on your family to create memories and to feel as if you're not just working to pay bills? Can't go anywhere, can't do anything, eat beans and rice 7 days a week, drive a 30-year-old car, cut up your credit cards, all kinds of foolishness, okay? So do we want to live like that or just try to figure out what can we spend on lifestyle and have a great life? The next thing underneath that is how much money out of your income should be put towards savings. So you got to do that. So you've got to find a good plan that you can prepare for retirement, prepare for kids' college, or whatever it is that you're saving for. Then you've got to do that number 2. So number 1 is this, and if you're writing notes, you want to have this lifestyle spending. Put that in your budget. Figure out how much you're going to spend for that. Then how much goes to savings. Number 3, making minimum payments on the debt. Okay, minimum payments on the debt. Now, sometimes when people have like several credit cards, they try to put more than the minimum. Let's say they have 5, all right, and they're all 5 have balances. They try to put more than the minimum on all 5. That's a mistake. Pay the minimums on all of them except one, and funnel that extra money that you have on one of the cards instead of trying to spread it out over 5. Some people have no money because they're putting all their extra money on the bills, and that's why it seems like I don't have any extra money. Okay, so that's another thing to do. Just make the minimum payments on the debt. All right. The last thing we do is make sure that we have money to buy food, electricity, pay for the phones, pay for insurances, just the regular budgetary items to keep life moving along. All right. Once you take care of all 4 of those things, then most people have some money left over. The reason why most people don't have money left over is because number 1, they have no idea how much money they're bringing in per month and how much it actually costs them to live. They're not tracking it. So it feels like paycheck to paycheck because we're not tracking. But if I know how much I want to spend on lifestyle, if I know how much it's going to go to savings, if I know what my minimum payments are on my debt, and if I know how much my electricity is, my food is, and I have a basic idea of all of that, okay, then I stop spending at that point because I've taken care of everything. There will be money left over, okay? We can put in the bank. Otherwise, you're probably spending more than you make. Don't do that. So here's where we go. This is where most people are. There's some money left over. So I have what's on here, what we call the power of the penny. And in one of the examples I use, if you pay an extra $200 on a mortgage, on this particular mortgage, you save about $1,000 in interest. Well, what if I don't have an extra $200? Okay. So who are we talking to on this?
We're talking to Al Ramsey.
Okay, Al. So here's what we've got. Let's say I have half that money. I have $100. Well, if I put $200 and I could save $1,000, $100 extra saves me about $500. Would that be worth it if I only had $100? Well, what if I didn't have 100? I got 50. That saves me $250 in interest. Or 25, it saves me $125 in interest. Let's go down to $3.13. In this situation, if you gave me, Al, $3.13 and I gave you back $18.75, how many times would you do that?
Every single time.
Did you realize that the bank has to do the same thing? For $3.13, it makes it impossible for them to charge you $18.75 in interest in this situation. So don't look at how much money you have and compare it to how far down you bring the principal balance. We have to focus on the real problem, and it's not the money you borrowed. It's the cost of managing the money you borrow. So if I could take $3.13 and save myself $18.75 worth of interest, that's a great thing. But listen, let's not stop there. We can take this thing all the way down. Any money that you have. Listen, folks, I pick up pennies in the parking lot. We're here in St. Thomas. We came here to work for 10 days just because we can, because we're not giving all of our money to the bank. And we went to the grocery store, and guess what? There were pennies in the parking lot. Did Don and his wife bend over?
Don't bring your wife into this, Don. Don't bring your wife. It was you. It was you. Leave my bestie out of this.
And pick up those doggone pennies in the parking lot, because in this scenario, 1 penny applied to your mortgage can save you 7 cents in interest you
That's
never
right.
have to pay. Do you realize we start talking about this in our book?
Mhm.
And in that book, it's the only book on Amazon that explains the amortization schedule out of 33 million titles. We have one book that does that out of 33 million titles, and it's called The P.I.L.L Method, A Better Way to Eliminate Debt. Folks, it's about how much interest you can save and how you manage it. And we want to put all your lazy money, all your pennies to work. If they're not designated to pay a bill, then have those pennies designated to kill interest on your loans. We had a guy from California who said, Don, we bought all of our groceries for the month and we had $4.69 left over. And with that $4.69 left over, your program said, put that in the savings account. We did. And when we did, the program recalculated our interest savings. And now we're going to save an additional $35 in interest with that $4.69. Or he could have tried to buy a burger and fries with it. If you know how valuable your small amounts of money are, you'll be able to get out of debt cheaper and faster with the small amounts of money. Do not despise small beginnings. Just don't. Okay? Use those small beginnings and to make an issue. So here's what we're doing, folks. If you want to know the basics of what we're talking about, get the book. Get the book today. All right. Go to ice10k.com and get that book. All right. Get it for your family. Get it for your friends. Teach it to your children. If you have grandchildren, teach it to your grandchildren. Okay. Because the Bible says we ought to teach these things to our children and our grandchildren. So let's do that.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.